Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Isaac. Isaac had been through tremendous heartbreak. His father had banished his only sibling, then took him up the mountain and nearly slaughtered him. Isaac and his father never spoke again after that, and Isaac's mother, Sarah, overcome with shock, passed away shortly after. The Torah tells us that Isaac had settled in the Negev, far away from his childhood home, though we don't know much about his life in the rest of his adolescence and early adulthood following the Akedah. We can certainly infer that Isaac, given the impact of multiple tragedies in his young life, would have been deeply grief-stricken. I imagine there are many of us here who know that feeling well, when the universe is relentless and we feel like we are constantly pummeled by terrible realities. The impact of Isaac's circumstances also must have been compounded by loneliness. He lost the parent who loved him unconditionally, was not on speaking terms with his only living parent and moved far from him, and did not yet have a partner or a family of his own. It would be understandable if Isaac wanted to stay in bed and isolate himself to prevent further heartache. Having endured trauma after trauma, why wouldn't he build a fortress around his heart and throw away the key? When your heart has been shattered so many times, it can feel pointless to put it back together again, only for it to break. I can certainly relate, and while I don't envy Isaac, he also did not have to contend with the nightmare of today's apps and dating culture. Isaac was not concerned with getting ghosted or zombied or breadcrumbed or love-bombed by a nice Jewish girl on Hinge or J-Swipe. Putting yourself out there and trying to find your beshert in any circumstances takes immense strength. Doing so when you feel like your baggage is too heavy or you are too hard to love, it's impossible. And yet, this is where Parshat Chayei becomes somewhat of a fairy tale. Isaac lifts his eyes and finds his beloved riding in on a camel. To note, this is now the third time in the Torah that someone in this family has looked up and found a miracle. Hagar recognizes El Roi, God who sees, which can perhaps reference God seeing her in all her truth and all her suffering, and throwing her a lifeline. Abraham spared Isaac's life only after looking up and seeing the ram that he slaughtered on the top of the mountain instead of his son. And once again, we see an example of someone looking beyond the ground beneath them. Not only does Isaac look up to see Rebekah on her camel, he does not talk himself out of or shy away from the woman who is meant to be his great love. Rebekah also lifted her eyes to see Isaac in all his grief and still worthy of love. We read earlier that she had consented to coming along with Abraham's servant to marry this man. While recognized for her kind spirit, perhaps the most beautiful trait of hers was also to say yes, to follow her gut instinct that in sickness and in health, in good times and in bad, this was her person. She didn't pull the wrong timing, it's not you, it's me card, or opt for someone who may have been easier to love. The Velveteen Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt shared a beautiful poem on her blog this week, creatively interpreting Rebekah's experience of this moment. I see you walking in the field as twilight paints the sky and my chest fills with butterflies. I am covered in anticipatory delight. My eyes are only for you. I slide toward the ground like harmony looking for melody. Take me into your mother's tent. I ache to welcome you into mine. To comfort you with apples, there is life after loss. Let me bring light. Rabbi Barenblatt also offered commentary that sliding toward the ground is in reference to the many interpretations of the word tipol that described how Rebekah dismounted from the camel. While different interpretations translate tipol to mean sliding toward the ground or alighting or descending from the camel, my favorite is that she fell off the camel like she was falling for Isaac. Isaac then brings Rebekah into his mother's tent and marries her. Rabbi Barenblatt's reference to light in her poem stems from a midrash, which says that while Sarah was alive, there was a lamp kindled every Shabbat. When Sarah died, the light ceased and did not shine again until Rebekah was brought into the tent. While we know that they did not necessarily live happily ever after without struggle or heartache, the Torah says that Rebekah brought Isaac love and comfort. She reignited a spark in his life, one perhaps that he thought would remain forever dimmed. Their willingness to embrace love and each other, even in the wake of loss and hardship, is inspiring. So, as we seek the Shabbos light that was lit once again in the tent of Sarah, may we all be loved deeply and wholly and ready to invite love and comfort and light into our lives, even when it's hard, even when we don't feel ready, and even when we feel hopeless or like we don't deserve it. And for the dreamers still awaiting our own Rivka, may our eyes and hearts remain open to be able to see her or him or them on the camel as they arrive, ready to love us for exactly who we are, scars and all. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.